Dude, we have new insider info, and it has to do with Ram heavy-duty diesel trucks.
That's right, and it's about transmissions.
Yes, we have an anonymous source that has inside information. This source has given us information before on other topics, and it was verified, so it's a trusted source.
Right.
And it has to do with the transmission choice in future Ram heavy-duty trucks.
Right, so what is the current transmission that's used with the heavy-duty Ram?
Yeah, so right now for 2020, Ram heavy-duty trucks actually have a choice of 3 transmissions. It's actually quite complicated when you consider all the options, right? So with a Hemi, with a 6.4-liter Hemi, they have the new ZF automatic transmission.
Okay.
And this news says that Ram is thinking about going away from the Aisin transmission in their high-output diesel, and they might choose either a ZF automatic or an Allison.
Now, from what I understand, both of them are sitting there to Ram going, come on, look at my transmission, I got something for you. And we're talking about ZF, which has in development, is it a 9-speed?
Well, the ZF transmission is the 8-speed.
8-speed.
That's what the source is telling us. And they already have a version of that 8-speed with a Hemi, like I just said. And then Allison is developing a new 9-speed automatic transmission, which actually doesn't have much to do with the 10-speed that General Motors is currently using.
Right. Now, are they still in a contract with General Motors?
Well, so Allison don't have an exclusive contract with them anymore. So that kind of went away almost a couple of years ago. So they're open to use, to lend their transmissions to other manufacturers.
Right. And
our inside source says that Ram is considering that pretty heavily. So what they do have right now, as you know, they do have their 6-speed Aisin, which is actually labeled as AS69RC. That's kind of the code name for it. And it's a good transmission. The truck you see behind me is the red 2020 Ram Heavy Duty Dually, which we recently tested on the iGauntlet, and transmission performed well.
That is correct.
And you can see it on TFL Truck.
That's right. Hey, before we go any further, maybe we should talk a little bit about the history of these 3 transmissions, because we really are talking about 3 different companies, and they are very different, aren't they?
Yeah, well, let's start with Aisin, right?
Okay.
Because Ram has used them for many years.
That's correct.
Right, and it's been pretty successful, as far as I can tell.
Right, and it goes back to, was it 1949?
Right, so it's a Japanese company. Mr. Toyoda actually founded the company.
Right.
And Toyota, the motor company, currently owns approximately like a 30% stake in Aisin. And Aisin, actually, they make different components, not just transmissions. Right? People know them for their transmissions in history, but they have a lot of different components that they've also produced.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing about that. A lot of their transmissions have been seen in other vehicles. We're talking about covering many, many different brands, not just Toyota products.
And cars as well, right?
Exactly, and cars as well.
Yeah, so once again, many manufacturers they supply. Let's talk about ZF.
Oh, yeah, very different.
ZF is another big company like Aisin.
Right.
And ZF is a German company. It actually was founded in like the 1915, so over 100 years of history there, right?
A lot of history, and a lot of vehicles have ZF transmissions, including small cars with 9-speed ZF transmissions, which are all over the place right now in the United States.
Yeah, if you think about like high-performance BMWs, even a lot of other passenger cars, and now trucks with Ram, right, have ZF transmissions, but that's not all they make.
Right.
Last year, a few months ago, I actually went to their development facility in Michigan, and I actually saw their prototype for rear-wheel steering. Right, so they supply rear-wheel steering currently to like companies like Audi, Lamborghini, Porsche, BMW, I believe. So a lot of luxury car makers. So they have their hands in a lot of different stuff.
Right, but that prototype rear end that you were looking at, that rear steering, who was it for?
It was, well, they were using a Ford.
Ah.
They didn't say it was for Ford, but they were using a Ford F-150.
There you go.
With that particular prototype. ZF guys set up a circle here, which is tighter than what the Ford F-150 can do in stock. So I'm gonna try to do one loop with just no rear steering, and then with it. And hopefully you'll see exactly the difference between the 2 modes. And I'm entering the circle. I'm in full lock. And ooh, I'm about to hit. Okay, I've cleared it. Now I'm hitting. Okay, gotta back up. Now go again. For this wheelbase of a truck, the turning radius is around 48 feet. With the system on, it's supposed to provide about 19% improvement. And I'm trying to park. Okay. Well, let me turn the system on and see how it goes. This time it's in normal mode, and ZF calls it kind of normal driving mode. So I'm gonna enable the front camera right here, and I'm gonna go full lock, and I hope you could see. Whoa! Look at this, almost 11 degrees in the rear, and still about 33 in the front. Making the turn completely in one shot, and then actually getting into the parking situation. And finally, Allison, right?
Right.
American-based company, was founded by James Allison, and I believe they're still headquartered in Indianapolis, right next to the track, right, Indy 500.
Right.
And they're known for their transmissions, but they also do a lot of other components as well.
They do as well, but they're really known for their heavy-duty transmissions. We're talking major vehicles, farm vehicles, industrial vehicles, buses, big trucks, you name it.
Yeah, if you think about like a fire truck or a school bus. I recently tested a 6x6, right?
Which was super cool.
Yeah, a Sella truck that's based on a Stewart and Stevenson military chassis. That chassis had a 7-speed Allison in it. So they know how to do transmissions.
Indeed, they do as well.
So guys, as we're telling you this information, by the way, this is unofficially, it's unconfirmed by either Ram, Aisin, ZF, or Allison. They haven't confirmed this. This is an inside source with inside information telling us this. But let us know, what would happen if Ram started selling a Cummins with an Allison or a ZF? What would you say to that?
It's up in the air. We don't know for sure, but this type of rumor, for those of you who are heavy-duty fans, I think it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I think Ram, they've used the 6-speed Aisin before, right, up till now for many, many years.
Right.
But I think they're a little bit feeling pressure from the competition, right? So let's talk about Ford.
Okay.
Just really quick.
Sure.
Right, for 2020, Ford Super Duty, and we actually bought the F-250 gas truck, right?
Yep.
They have their own design, 10-speed automatic transmission.
Yep.
And they're using it in their Power Stroke diesels and also in their gas-powered trucks.
That is correct.
Right? So they're kind of, saying, we're using, this many more gears, 10 gears. You can get better kind of takeoff speeds, right? Maybe better efficiency even.
Right, and some people say, well, what if the final gear ratio is all that's important, or that type of thing. But here's the deal with having a lot of gears. It's more complex, which is perhaps a negative, but having lots of gears can also help with efficiency, smooth shifting, especially if you're carrying a heavy load. Having that just go sequentially in a nice,
and
orderly
small
fashion.
gaps of RPM.
And
right.
small gaps when you drop your RPM between gears. So that could be a positive. So there's both sides of it.
Yeah, and of course, General Motors, we mentioned them already.
Right.
They're no longer they don't have an exclusive contract with Allison anymore for their pickup trucks. They now have a 10-speed that they developed themselves.
Right.
But Allison verified, tested, and approved that transmission, and they put their name on it.
There you go.
So GM calls it Allison branded, and we have many videos talking about that transmission as well. And it's not actually related to the Ford in a lot of ways. You know how they collaborated on the 10-speed in the light-duty trucks?
Right, in the light-duty trucks.
Yeah. So I asked about it. I was like, are you still collaborating? Are you still working on heavy-duty? They said no.
I think they spit on the ground and threw something over their head when they said that too. They were not very happy about that idea.
When I turned my back, I think they did. No. Anyway, but I think Ram is feeling some pressure. I mean, they're doing really well in sales right now.
Yes, indeed.
Right, but I think they're thinking to themselves, and this is the information we're getting from this source, from the insider, Ram is saying, can we do something else? Maybe can we bring another partner on board, maybe like Allison or ZF, and can that improve our sales even further and improve capability, right? Improve efficiency, improve just overall experience of the truck.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's the big question. And who knows? I think we have more questions than answers with this, but we want your input on this as well. What do you think? A new Allison transmission, is that in the works? A new ZF, is that the right idea? Be interesting to find out.
And I think from my perspective, if I look at the Ram heavy-duty trucks, right, They have choice currently. You know, they have their own 6-speed with a standard Cummins.
Right.
They have Aisin with the high output Cummins. They have ZF with a Hemi. I think it's a little confusing for the customer. Like, if I was just walking in and I didn't know all that stuff, you know, different companies, different reliability ratings, different performance, right? Like, that's kind of complex.
So are you saying maybe it's a better idea to have one transmission, or at least one manufacturer transmission that goes throughout all the heavy duty?
That's my opinion, yeah. What do you think about that?
I think the more the merrier. Bring them on. Lots of different ones from lots of different automakers and lots of different transmission makers. And that way you have a variety of different things for people to select that are perhaps less expensive on the trucks that don't have as much power.
I just think it's really exciting potential, right? And once
Yeah.
again, as soon as we get more confirmation from any of these manufacturers, we'll let you know. And I'm actually going to the Work Truck Show 2020.
All right.
It's in Indianapolis, so that's kind of Allison country.
Yes, it is.
So I'll try to get the inside scoop and let you know what's happening from there.
There you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this was informative for you. And if you have any opinions, which I'm sure you do, please list them below.
And go back to TFLtruck.com for more news, views, and real-world heavy-duty truck, like this red truck, reviews.
See you guys.